Hey guys, Flo from After Lens here, and today we're going to talk about the new Smallrig Matte Box. In this video I will talk about my experience using it, what I like and don't like about it, and whether or not I would recommend it. I will also compare it to the Tilta Mini, which I have been using for a year. As always, this is my honest opinion after using this matte box for a few days. This review is based on using it on a Pocket 6K, but as always most of it applies to the matte box itself, regardless of which camera you intend to use it with. Be sure to subscribe to see more videos like this one, and let's jump into it. So before I start, I want to say that I bought this matte box. This is not a sponsored video. Smallrig did not send this to me for review. I've been using the products for years now, so I was very interested when they announced it, and got it during the pre-order for the ridiculous price of $80 USD. I decided to get this matte box because it does two important things that my Tilta Mini doesn't. A matte box for me is a way to use high quality filters. I mostly need NDs since I shoot outside a lot, and the ones that I use are the Nisi RRND. I've been shooting with them for nearly a year now and I absolutely love them. Here's a quick demo on how the image looks without a filter and with, using the same settings. I won't go too long into the filters, but I've done a full review on these, so feel free to check it out. In order to test the Smallrig Matte Box, we visited an alpine village in the French Alps, and since it was very sunny, it was a perfect setting to try one. Whilst it may look sunny and bright, it was actually -8, hence the jacket and the gloves. The BMPCC did very well by the way despite the sub-zero temperature. I used the matte box the way that I would normally use one, but also pointed the camera straight at the sun a few times and the snow to see how it would perform, as well as to check for any unwanted flares. So first impressions. First of all, the box that it came in is beautiful and feels very premium. It is hands down the nicest Smallrig packaging I've ever seen. Secondly, it is much bigger than I anticipated. When I first saw and held the matte box, I was actually expecting something much smaller, probably because I became used to the size of the Tilta Mini, but this one is pretty much the size of my older Tilta MBT12. Oh, and yes, you can remove the sticker. When the matte box was first announced, the sticker got a lot of people worried, myself included, as it is very tacky and slightly embarrassing to carry a matte box with matte box written on it. It is lightweight at only 238 grams, but feels very sturdy and doesn't scream cheap at all. The matte box itself is made of aluminium alloy and the flag is made of carbon. What I like about this matte box. So after shooting a few days, here's what I like about it. There are two main reasons for me to get this matte box in the first place despite owning the Tilta Mini. First is that it can take two filters. This is amazing, especially for the price. It is only $99 USD. Having the possibility to use two filters at once means that you can have an ND, and on top of that you can use a diffusion filter like a black mist or anything else that you want to use. The second reason for me to get it is that it supports lenses all the way up to 114mm front diameter. The important part for me is that it can take 95mm front diameter lenses, using an adapter that you can buy with a matte box, which is what I did. A lot of cine lenses these days use 95mm as the front thread, but not all matte boxes accommodate for that size, especially cheap ones. It can also accept both 4x4 and 4x565 filters, which is very handy and doesn't lock you in one size if you ever want to change. It also means that if you already own some, you don't have to invest in newer ones. It is easy to get filters in and out. Since you pull and push on the sides, you actually don't leave marks on them. Swapping filters is always a tricky part when operating a matte box, especially if you're on your own, but I found the experience less stressful with this one. You have two little notches that guide the filters in. The box comes with 4 lens adapters, which includes your standard 67, 72, 77 and 82mm. You also have a few mounting points at the top, and you can also fit the matte box on rods thanks to the thread at the bottom. I didn't notice any crazy flares and the filters sit deep enough to be protected and also close to the lens itself. And lastly, it is fairly lightweight. I carried it for more than 2 hours at some point, non-stop, and it didn't add any noticeable weight to my rig. What I don't like about this matte box. Now onto the things that I didn't like as much. So in the box that I received, the 77mm filter doesn't work. It seems like it's just not cut properly. Maybe it is because I pre-ordered and it was the first batch, but still. This is an issue for me, as most of my lenses have a 77mm front thread. Of course, you can use step-up ring or step-down ring, but it kinda defeats the purpose of having threaded adapters. I've reached out to Smallrig about it and will let you know ASAP. All the other ones work without any problems, so hopefully it's just this one. You can't take the box that it came in with you, and filters don't come with any soft pouch or anything like this. This means that you have to carry the filters in the cardboard packaging, which isn't ideal, or put them in your bag as is. Carrying a matte box around isn't always easy. That brings me to my next point. It is slightly too big in my opinion for a cheap, lightweight matte box. Of course, this is mainly due to the fact that you can adapt lenses of up to 114mm, as well as 2 filters. It is lightweight, just not compact, but then again, it wasn't advertised as being a small one. I just feel like the current offers from different brands at that price point usually have smaller products, especially when part of the audience target are mirrorless shooters. The flag knob at the top is too soft. What I mean is that the flap can be moved a bit too easily. I'm not also a big fan of how it locks in and how it looks, since it is quite shiny and big and doesn't really fit in with the rest of the product. And finally, whilst the way to insert filters is great, it can be very hard to open the door sometimes. Smallrig versus Tilta Mini. So I decided to also compare it to a Tilta Mini matte box, since it is probably the closest in terms of price and aimed at the same type of customer. They are both affordable, can be attached to the lens the same way, offer mounting options, and are lightweight, but they are quite different in many ways too. Size. There's a pretty huge difference between the two when it comes to size. As you can see, the Tilta is a lot smaller. Filters. As I said before, the Smallrig can take up to 2 filters, including 4x4, whilst the Tilta can only take one 4x565 filter. Another big difference is the way of inserting the filters. I much prefer Smallrig's approach with the trays, rather than the very annoying knob on Tilta. It is so small and can make swapping filters very frustrating sometimes. I do like how the Tilta box is padded though and fits all the lens adapters in it. I always take the whole box on jobs, and this way I'm sure not to forget anything. The top flag on the Tilta feels also a lot more secure and doesn't move at all. Again, I have done a full review on the Tilta Mini, so feel free to check it out. Would I recommend the Smallrig Matte Box? Yes, I would absolutely recommend it. For the price, it feels more serious and premium than the Tilta, and is definitely a lot more versatile since you can use 2 filters at once and lenses of up to 114mm in diameter. I will definitely use the Smallrig for bigger projects with bigger lenses. I think the Smallrig is also quite future-proof and a better investment. Another advantage is that the Smallrig looks legit, and sometimes it might look better to rock up on a job with a matte box like this rather than a super small one. I think for the price, Smallrig did really well and is offering a pretty competitive product. I would find it hard to justify spending thousands of dollars or even hundreds of dollars on a proper system if you're not working on a crazy big production. That being said, I would still use the Tilta, as I have been doing for months. In my opinion, the Tilta is better for travel, mirrorless cameras, or if you know that you will only need one filter at the time. That's it for me today guys. Be sure to subscribe for more videos like this one, and let me know in the comments if you're thinking of getting this matte box, or if you have any questions about it at all. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.